Hey, good morning, New Life Church. My name is Michael Hogue, and I'm from the Heber Springs campus. So we are continuing our series on freedom. And today we're going to talk about honor in action. We're going to take a look at several different things that you can do to help to make yourself a vessel of honor, someone who is in the position to do the good work that God created you to do. So there's several things that you can do. We're going to look at three today, three different things that you can do with this. And the number one thing that I'm going to say is to offer your bodies. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, but what I'm talking about is in Romans 12, verse 1, it says, "And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind he will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship him." Now, offering your body as a living sacrifice, it sounds a little bit weird. It sounds a little bit confusing. I imagine it was probably very confusing to the Roman people who often witnessed animal sacrifices to different gods, but he said to make yourself a living sacrifice. And one of the things that he was talking about here is with our bodies, we sin. We sin with what we choose to look at. We sin with what we choose to do, the actions we take. We sin sometimes with what we touch. So what he was talking about here is being very, very intentional with what you do with your body. Guarding your heart, guarding your eyes, guarding what you look at, what you do. And when you do this, and when you're intentional with it, what you can actually do is you're making a conscious effort to avoid sin. Now look, we're not going to be perfect at it. We're going to fall short sometimes. That's where the grace of God comes in. That's where his goodness. But the more that we make this conscious effort, the less and less that we are actually going to sin. And when we do that, we start to, like I said, make ourselves better vessels of honor to carry out the work. The number two thing that we can do is renew our minds. We see, if you continue this next verse in Romans 12, it says, "Don't copy the behaviors and customs of the world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect." So first of all, this is a daily thing. This is a daily decision. You're going to wake up and you're going to renew your mind. You're going to focus on what it is that God wants for you in your life. This isn't just something that necessarily is going to happen once and you're never going to struggle with it again. But we're also talking about spiritual warfare here. As Christians, look, we are in the middle of a war. But Paul says in 2 Corinthians 10 that we don't wage war the way that the world does. We are battling the forces that would in the spiritual realm that are attacking us and attacking the world on a daily basis. And what this is saying, don't listen to the voice of the enemy. This is saying, listen to the voice of God. Even with things like if God speaks a word into you, Isaiah 53:5 says, "By his wounds you are healed." Believe it. Don't let the enemy tell you anything other than that. I love this. It says, warfare is exchanging the report of the world for the report of the Lord. That's what we're doing with spiritual warfare here, and that's what we're doing with renewing our mind. It is an active choice where I'm not going to believe what the enemy thinks. I'm going to believe what God says. And when we do that, and we start doing that more and more, we'll see it becomes easier and easier to do that. And number three, and this is probably one of my favorites, if not maybe the most important one, is to surrender our wills. We talk about this, the cost of discipleship sometimes. It's heavy. Jesus said that if you want to be my follower, to take up your cross and follow me. That's a very heavy picture, one that we don't often really understand. We've never seen a prisoner carrying his cross, dragging it down. We've never seen someone, or most likely never seen someone nailed to a cross and hung up there. That is a gruesome idea to put in someone's head about what it takes to follow Christ. But he's saying that you have to die to your old self. He's saying that there are things in you that you've got to sacrifice. There are things in you that you have to be willing to give up. And I love probably one of the best examples of this is with Jesus himself. We see in Luke 22, verse 42, Jesus is saying, look, God, if you are willing, please take this cup away from me. Like he's saying, if there's any other way, but he finishes it up with right here. He says, but I want your will to be done, not mine. What in your life do you need to surrender? What in your life are you praying that God, I want this, I want this, I want this. And we need to stop and we need to take a moment and say, God, what do you want for my life? What do I need to give up so that my life looks the way that you want it to look? And church, that's my prayer for all of you today. I just pray that you look for what you need to give up so that you can be a better disciple. What is keeping you from doing God's will in your life today? Love you, church. Have a great day.